Hey, you think you could share one of these links on our Twitter? Because we haven't put it on
I
Twitter.
don't have access to Twitter.
Oh. Okay. All right, we'll go to Twitter. One more second, guys. Comic review this week. Oh. And now, yeah, the mall music is just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So these boxes over here, these short boxes, are going to be for Emily Young's school.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, she's going to pay for them. I just have to learn her that.
Okay. Comic reviews for 3:30. Yep. Talk shows and podcasts. Come on, Bixby, don't kill my Twitch feed. Oh, hey, it's working. And we're sort of up. Kind of, sort of up. Ah! Okay. Just stick it behind the monitor. That's what we'll do. And then we'll turn it a little bit more. Okay. All right, I'm going to take my mask off because I can't sign fast enough, and I want the deaf community to read my lips. Did I watch Invincible last week? I did. I watched all 3 episodes, and that is honestly a great rendition of a comic book. I loved every moment of it. I would like to discuss it, but it's still too early to like be spoilery on films. Cam, you're gonna do a review this week too. You got any pop culture news for us?
Oh man, let's see. Daisy Ridley wouldn't mind playing Spider Woman.
Daisy Ridley
She's
wouldn't
going
mind
to
this.
Spider.
Okay,
To play Jessica Drew.
I can see that.
So I'm kind of hoping that becomes happen.
What?
So I'm kind of hoping that happens.
Yeah, I could see that. Who's playing Cindy Moon again?
They haven't said. It says she's supposed to appear in the next Spider-Man movie.
I thought her movie was already like casted.
The animated the animated one coming out. So
I mean, they got Dark Road and all that back on track.
We got with real quick. Peter Mallison makes custom short boxes that we are selling in our store, and these are gorgeous. The one in the background is a Larfleeze one that may eventually come into my possession. That is the most amazing thing ever because obviously I'm a huge Larfleeze fan. And this one is Falcon and Winter Soldier. Look how amazing this is. Like these are really heavy duty like short boxes. And yeah, if you want something to really protect your collection and show off like just an absolute showpiece, these are amazing. But you're probably not getting that Larfleeze one. I'm sorry. It's probably mine for obvious reasons. Speaking of which, this hat, I need to get another one of these hats, and I don't know where to get them. It's kind of a bummer. Any other pop culture news?
Thundercats movie.
Oh yeah, Thundercats movie announced from the same director as Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla vs. Kong comes out this weekend. Apparently, it's already grossed a lot. Tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow.
Tonight at midnight.
It's grossed a lot worldwide, so that's pretty exciting. Who are you rooting for, Cam?
Godzilla.
Yeah, of course. And I'm rooting for Godzilla, but being in the AMC GameStop corner, I'm also rooting for apes. So, I don't know. What else?
Moon Knight comic book series coming.
Oh, yeah, there's a Moon Knight series. And McKay is the writer, right?
Yes.
That's going to be so good.
Predator #1 is
Oh, man. McKay's take on Moon Knight. Ooh, I can't wait. What did you say? Predator #1?
now orderable.
Is now orderable. Okay. Predator #1. You guys want Predator? Come on through. Cam, do you want to do your book review, your comic review first?
I can't.
You want to? Or do you want me to warm it up?
Up to you. You want me to do it?
I don't care. Yeah, go for it, dude. I'm gonna leave the mic.
Where is the book? Oh, I forgot to put one in your box. Oh, sorry, Mom. There we go. Okay. My small review.
Take off your mask.
Oh.
Take mine off.
Sorry, everybody, for this week was the debut of Power Rangers Unlimited #1 Heir to Darkness, and it's by McKinney, Ragazzoni, and Monty. I think I butchered a couple of names.
It's usually my
All right, so if you're familiar with the Power Rangers in Space storyline, it was back in like the early, late '90s. You know that the villain Astrama was supposedly taken from her brother on their home planet, raised to be evil, blah blah blah. But this is basically how she was raised after she got kidnapped. Like Ecliptor was supposedly like her henchman, but he raised her, taught her how to fight and everything, and it features a younger Divatox from Power Rangers Turbo, a couple other villains that have yet to be named, but you know your Power Rangers lore and you know what's going on. It goes into the main continuity of what's going on right now, but it was a nice, nice off road to, to continue the Power Rangers lore. So I would definitely pick it up if you get the chance. Give it a 4.5 out of 5.
All right. Cool.
Good.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for that, man.
Yes.
We'll go back. Okay. All right. Back at it. The first book we're going to cover is John Ridley, Giuseppe Camuncoli, Andrea Chucci, and Jose Villarubio. And this is book 3 of the other history of the DC universe. Now, if you don't know, this is generally stories centering around people of color and the lesser known stories of the DC universe. This one centers around Katana. Lady Shiva's touched on. There's quite a few heroes and villains that are touched on in this. They do reference some major events to include the death of Superman. I said it. Damn it. It's bad luck to say that in the comic shop. Also, they touch on a very, very controversial event centering around Terra from the Titans and God, why is my brain dying here? Deathstroke, who it's probably one of it's gross. It's gross event, and that when people say they're Deathstroke fans, usually I'm like, how? Like, how? If you know what happened during that, what was that event called for the Teen Titans?
Judas Contract?
Yeah, the Judas Contract. It's so. Let me just say that if you're a little squeamish for that sort of, it's hard to talk about, especially on YouTube. If you're a little squeamish of that sort of thing, and if you know what I'm referring to, you know to whether or not you like or avoid this book. Now, keep in mind, John Ridley's amazing, and honestly, this might have been my favorite of all of the other history of the DC universe. It was really, really good. So yeah, we'll have that. I just, you got to give some trigger warnings to people. There is some shocking stuff in that. Marvel switched to Penguin Random. Oh, that's right. That's right. We forgot to talk about that. Marvel switched from Diamond Comics to Penguin Random House. And I don't like to bite the hand that feeds, unless that hand that feeds is always delivering us missing books and damaged books and, charging us for stuff that we didn't order. And so that, yeah. Can't say I didn't see it coming. I mean, DC left for Lunar and has been doing so well with Lunar. I have had some warning from a buddy in New Zealand, Stu, who the creator of Comic Hub, who says that Penguin Random House is very difficult to deal with. So we'll see. I mean, he's in New Zealand, so maybe they're difficult to deal with over there. We'll give him a chance. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad. Honestly, part of me is kind of glad. I'm a little bit nervous because, change is always bad. But seeing how good DC did with Lunar has me a bit hopeful that this might be a good thing. Although Penguin Random House is being a writer, I know a few things about that publishing company as well. That's for another show. Next is Tom King, Mitch Gerards, and Evan Shaner. And we're talking about Strange Adventures. Now, this Strange Adventure story is very, very adult and very, very shocking. The thing they're dealing with centers around Adam Strange. And Adam Strange may very well have committed war crimes against the Pickets. Now, the problem with this whole situation is that the pickets are currently attacking Earth, and they destroyed most of Phoenix, Arizona. So now you've got Earthlings saying, well, like Adam Strange might have committed war crimes, but is that like, did he do what was necessary for them to survive? And is that what we need right now? And it's a very murky and dark, a moral quagmire, I guess you could say. And being good soldiers, both me and Yogi are like, well, no, you should never commit war crimes. Never, ever, ever. We do get a confrontation between Superman and Adam Strange regarding that in here. And of course, Superman is never going to say that that's an okay thing. Now, do I think that King has fully pulled back the curtain and that's the entire story here? No, because he's Tom King. Like, he's going to go off on something in the last couple issues. This is only 9. We've got 3 issues left, so we'll see. Am I having a good time with the story? I am, even though as a soldier, that is the most touchy of subjects. But it's good. It's good, and I'm having a good time, and I want to know where that one's going as well. Next is Adams, Peterson, Santucci, Attia, and Guerrero. And that is Wally West returns as the fastest man alive. Now, this is the new run of Flash in the DC's Infinite Frontier. Let me tell you, first of all, I was blown away by the art. The art is really, really wicked good. Oh, and Al says subcam. So that's what happens. But we saw last time that, what was it? Wally West was going to take over on Justice League, leaving Barry Allen in charge of the multiverse team, I guess is what it was. That was the plan. This issue opens with Wally West saying, nah, I've got my family back, and I kind of want to just go do that. I want to give up the Speed Force and give up the Flash life. And, we all know that that's probably not going to work out for him here. But, it's change. It's the sign of a man who's grown and changed a bit and learned, a better path in life for him. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. Is it good? Yes, it was great. Honestly, this Infinite Frontier stuff is amazing. The only thing I don't like about the Infinite Frontier is the banner is not big enough and blue enough like that Rebirth banner, which was amazing. Everything that had Rebirth banner on it was like snatching up because it was just all so good, and you just knew it was good if it had Rebirth on it. Infinite Frontier is still good. I just wish they'd do something with their banner game. I don't know. Anyways, we'll have that on our shelf. Next is Tom King, Clayman, and Tomoe Murray. Man, 2 Tom King books this week. Man, it's like he's writing Batman again. He kind of is. I mean, it's Batman, Catwoman. And actually, this centers around, Helena Wayne, the daughter of Batman and Catwoman, who is investigating the murder of the Joker and whether or not it might involve her mom, Catwoman. There's a couple twists and turns in this, and I was having a good time with it. That said, I do think the last issue was a bit weird, and the first issue was a bit weird. Cam, have you been reading these?
Which one?
Batman, Catwoman?
Yeah.
What do you think?
First issue was kind
of slow and a bit weird.
Second issue kind of picked it up a little bit.
Yeah.
We gotta look at Phantasm.
Yeah, and we're seeing some confrontations between some cracks between Cat and Bat and how they handled it, and I like that. I do like that. Meanwhile, the current timeline is, Batman's dead and Helena Wayne's taken over, and I like her suit. Mm-hmm. I do like her suit. It's on the cover. This is the B cover though. But yeah, oh man, it's so good. We will have copies. I can't talk much more about it without spoiling it too much. Like,
we're gonna really hurt Cat or Selena and her daughter going in.
They're at odds for good reason, because Catwoman might have been involved with Joker's death, and she kind of suspects it. So yeah, we're gonna see how that plays out. Is it good? Yes, it's good. But if the more I talk about it, the more I'm gonna spoil of that for you. So I don't want to spoil. Next is Russell Pugh and Ferraro Jr., and we're talking about Superman versus Imperious Lex, and this is the wrap-up. Now, poor old Lex, he joined the United Planets of the League of Planets. I can't remember what that group is called. United Nations of Planets, I guess. He joined it. Superman gave the okay, and Lois gave the okay, and he wound up becoming a member, and then promptly decided to rob his planet of energy crystals and try to enslave some of his people, and then that blew up in his face. Now the energy crystals are worthless, and we're going from there. Is it good? Yeah, it's good. It's just it's weird because doesn't the storyline feel kind of a bit all over the place?
It is.
It is, right? It's all over the place. It's good. I don't hate it. It's just weird that it comes from Russell, who is the guy who wrote Snagglepuss and the modern take on Flintstones, which is very thought-provoking and at times philosophical stories that like pulled at the heartstrings. And this one's just kind of weird. Is it good? Yeah, it's good. I mean, if you need another Superman book, I'd say it's okay. It's Old Man Superman. Next, we're going to talk about Black Cat, and I think I have another copy of Black Cat in this pile somewhere. But we're going to show you the Jen Bartel cover, which is amazing. I love anything Jen Bartel. This particular issue around Black Cat, well, I'm going to have to spoil a little to talk about this. But, Spider-Man's got Venom. Let's put it this way. Spider-Man's got Venom. Wolverine's got Sabretooth.
Yeah.
Who's Black Cat got? Herself, right? Right, usually. Well, Felicia Hardy does now have a new counterpart in the form of King Cat, who is actually another character, an older character that was part of Hobgoblin's crew. Hobbs what? Hobbin and Hobbs. But part of Hobbs' crew, and now she's trying to be the hero. So she's decided that her rival is Black Cat. It makes sense. I mean, if you look at their outfits, you could have seen this coming a mile off. But I don't know enough about the King Cat character, and I'm not sure that she's really my jam quite yet. I want to see how all of this plays out. Is it good? Yeah, it was good. The writing's always good. The storyline's fun. Honestly, this writer, who's the writer again on these? It's McKay, right? McKay can tell a story, and the characters, the way he writes characters and their inner monologues is so good. So don't skip it. By all means, definitely don't skip it. It's not my pick of the week. Oh, what's my DC pick of the week?
Yeah.
It's the other history of the DC universe. Or Strange Adventures. I'm going to say it's the other history of the DC universe. That's my DC pick of the week. Next is Hickman and Huddleston, and this is Decorum. Now, this is, I confess, I skipped, I think, a couple issues of Decorum. Decorum is a wild sci-fi adventure that if I had to describe it, I would say that there is one part's bounty hunters, one part's spirituality, and one part's space mescaline being injected into your face. It's weird. I mean, even by Hickman's standards, it's pretty weird and psychedelic and wild. I mean, like, when you're reading this, the art is really, really mind-blowing. Go figure, it's Huddleston. But, like, you get to points where, I'm not kidding you, there's points where there is an advertisement for a space noodle shop in the middle of this, and which is, honestly, it's a really good-looking advertisement. Like, if it was crypto art, I would probably consider buying it. It was that good. So it's just cool. It's wild. They're jumping between stories. It's got a very, even though it's science fiction, it has that sort of like different characters' perspective, like fantasy. It's a fantasy motif. It's really, really good. It's just wild and psychedelic. And I was a little bit confused because I skipped a couple issues. Go figure. You can't really do that with Hickman because he weaves one hell of a tale. Is it good? Yes, it's amazing. It's honestly great. I would say don't start with this issue. Definitely go back maybe a ways, maybe to the beginning. But if you're on Decorum, you are no doubt having a good time with that. Trust me. Next is a book that is written by Donny Cates. Let me get a sip.
Is it Venom?
So here's the thing. When I said that maybe Penguin Random House will work out is because we get books that are damaged like this from Diamond all the time. All the time. It's never packed well. Can't stand it. So this is Redneck. Come back real soon. I love everything about Redneck from the art. The art is really good to just the branding, the big neon letters to go with a cowboy story. And the premise, I mean, it's cowboys crossed with vampires. And in it, there is an artifact gun that can kill vampires. Okay. I mean, the silver bullets are for werewolves, but we've seen silver bullets be used for vampires. in stories and stuff like that. So okay, but I think this is actually a gun that does. Hey, Tom King is awesome. I agree with you, Carl. What's up, Green Machine? What's up, Lahaina? Sorry, I didn't get to you guys sooner. So Redneck is, I mean, it's a fun story, but it's a Donny Cates story, so you know it's good by default. The art is, it's just really good. Like I love the art direction in this. Huddleston is just so cool. And you know, there's just a lot of twists and turns with this story. So if you like vampires, which most people do, if you like vampires, you like cowboys, trust me, you'll like this. It's great. Come pick it up. If you like good art too. Next is Orlando Mobility and Guri Effects. This is Avengers Curse of the Man Thing. Now I don't much care for Man Thing for a lot of reasons. I mean, in this we've got his origin story. Probably the biggest reason he's not my favorite is because I'm a huge Swamp Thing favorite, which is his DC counterpart. And honestly, like a lot of times the DC Marvel like correlations and how they reflect each other is it's good. Like they've taken it and a part of it and maybe they've bastardized a phrase. Like what was Sideways's phrase?
Oh God!
Instead of with great power it comes great responsibility because he's the Spider-Man counterpart. It was
Like, great responsibility comes with great power.
no, with great power comes great liability.
Yeah,
I think it was.
liability. That's what it was.
Well, okay, I mean that's clearly, but Sideways as a character didn't look a lot like it. Man Thing looks a lot like it's like an ugly version of Swampy is how I describe it. And his origin is so close to Alec Holland's that I've never bonded with the character. That said, am I having a good time with this Avengers run on Man Thing? Actually, yes. The art was really, really good. The storyline was wild. It does have Man Thing's origin, which is, I guess, it's okay. But there is a lot of Avengers in play, and a lot of them making jokes and going back and forth. The banter between them, like at one point, Blade is like, "I smell blood magic," and they're like, "You always smell blood." But it's like, what are you on about? It's good. I had a good time with it. I'm gonna give it a chance. As somebody who generally doesn't like Man Thing as a character, I'm gonna give it a chance, and I'm gonna see how it plays out. And who knows? By the end of it, maybe Man Thing will be my new jam. We'll see. Next is, and this is a damaged copy of Silk that we probably won't be putting out because one of the staples didn't take in the middle. And then we've got a little bit of a rip in the corner, in case you can see right there. But what a gorgeous Jen Bartel cover for Women's History Month. And this is Silk. Now, if you don't know Silk, hang on, you will, because it's a live action movie, right? It's an animated movie coming. Everyone will know who Silk is after that. But if you don't know who Silk is Cindy Moon. And Cindy Moon is now taking a job working for J. Jonah Jameson at his podcast, which is called, oh God, let me get the name of it. Threats and Menaces. Threats and Menaces. Of course, that's J. Jonah Jameson's podcast. And J. Jonah is working with, God, I can't remember her name, but she's in it too. It's wild. It's kind of wild that they're weaving this into the Spider-Man social media story where he's teamed up with J. Jonah Jameson. It's good. I had a good time with it. We're going to get a new evil, I think new, I could be wrong, a sort of new evil corporation called, was it called Fujinet? Fujinet is, I think, what it's called. It's cool. I want to know where it's going, but I think as far as openers are concerned, the opener, as an opening book, it was really good. The art, Cam, what did you say about the art?
It rivals Arrow.
It's like Arrow. It really is really good art. You're just here. I'm gonna open one page. And wow, like the art is just gorgeous. So yeah, definitely don't skip this. Do not skip this at all this week. Come pick it up. It's great. Is it my pick of the week for Marvel? No, not yet. Not yet. Let me thumb through, guys. Give me. Oh, I know it's not my pick of the week. Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe that should be my indie pick. Oh. No. No. Yeah. Okay. I know what my pick of the week is. Sorry. Let's go. Next is Ta-Nehisi Coates, Leonard Kirk, Matt Mia, and if you recognize that team, you know I'm talking about Captain America. Now, poor old Cap. Cap has had a couple of years, especially after the events of was it Secret War? Not Secret War. I've got all my wars confused. But when he was Captain Hydra,
Oh.
that's not Secret War. My brain, dude. What was that event called? Secret Empire. I got my secrets confused. Anyways, so after that event, we had Cap just kind of being called Captain Hydra and that going on forever and a day, and I hated it. And then Ta-Nehisi Coates pulled it out of the fire and got really adventurous with this. And finally, we're gonna figure out. Cap was given a speech last time, and an IED went off, and that one kind of hit home for both me and Yogi being veterans and having to deal with that sort of thing. So yeah, it was a little shocking, but we're gonna get some explanation on that and what is happening, and more importantly, what are people trying to do? Were they actually trying to kill Captain America? Because I think it'd take a lot more than that. Or are they trying to kill the idea of Captain America? Ooh. So you're gonna have to read this because let me tell you, Coates is doing some wild things. I was not on board this time last year. I was fully like not into this run at all, and now I'm so on board. It's good, really good. So don't skip it at all, especially that issue. And I mean, every one of these covers is Alex Ross, is it not? They're all Alex Ross covers. Every single one of these is Alex Ross, so don't skip it. They're all good. Same with the Immortal Hulk covers. Next is Greg Pak, Ethan Young, and Joanna LaFuente. And we're talking about the amazing Firefly, but this is also the new cast of Firefly. And last issue, well, we found out quite a few stuff. Some of the new members include Zoe's kids, which is cool to see. We do know that Wash from previous issues, a robot, has his consciousness and looks just like him. That may or may not have made the ultimate sacrifice, and that was cool to see. But this is several years later, and now they've got a reason to go find Mal Reynolds.
What?
Yeah. So we're gonna see the old captain return, but he's not gonna be a captain. I think we fully committed to the idea that Zoe is a captain. But he might be tagging along, and I want to know where they're going with this. So is it great? Yes. Firefly is amazing. And they might have more than one ship. I think they have 2 ships right now. So we might get a Firefly fleet. That would be amazing. Is it good? Yes. The art's good. The story's really good. This one in particular centers around Mal being hunted by what's the group? The Blue. What's the Firefly Corporation? The Blue Sun. Yeah, being hunted by Blue Sun. And honestly, if you've been reading these Firefly comics, like they've gotten really, really good in the last like 4 or 5 issues. You really shouldn't be skipping them. The art is great. I remember that too. Like last year, the art got really pencil sketchish, and I hated it. And they've since fixed that. So, ouch, that damage. What are we referring to? Oh, the damage on the moon, the silk cover. Yes. Next is Bartos says Tybor El Barto. I gotta tell you, Yogi, I showed Mason, my son, Simpsons for the first time, and like immediately, like he saw the intro and just like burst out laughing, and I was like, "Oh, is this the first time you've seen The Simpsons? Have I never showed you The Simpsons?"
Fail.
Oh, man. And there is a Simpsons comic book guy episode that has him going to Comic Palooza in San Diego.
Gotcha.
Because Comic-Con's prone to suing.
Yes. Can't even mention con in that.
Yeah, and so he goes there, and it ends in a dying mall. The episode does end in a dying mall, and then he has this slam in it. Here's the difference. I want to break it down why I didn't like The Big Bang Theory, because The Big Bang Theory as a whole would make jokes like, "Oh, this is as bad as The Phantom Menace," and that's not geekdom. Like everybody knows The Phantom Menace sucked. Like you're just punching down at that point. There's no point to it. Like if you're gonna make a show about geek culture, make good geek jokes. And that's the difference between The Simpsons, because even though we can all agree that The Simpsons has kind of fallen off in humor, There was this one line in the Comic Book Guy episode where he says, "You are as bad as a Spider-Man drawing from John Romita Jr. Now, if you're not a comic fan, you have no idea what that joke means or how amazing it is that they said Romita Jr. But oh man, was that awesome. And hey, The Simpsons predicts things, as Cam pointed out, so maybe we will get a John Romita Jr. in the future. So anyways, back to reviews. This is The Witcher Fading Memories. Now, this is number 4 of 4, which makes sense because I was thoroughly confused. I didn't hate this story. I liked it. I was just kind of wondering what happened. It seemed like there was a mage who accidentally killed someone, and they didn't quite get into the hows and the whys. I'm just going to assume he had Alzheimer's, and his powers got out of hand. Probably not. That might be kind of mean. I always wondered that, though. Like, what happens to superheroes that get old?
Yeah.
Or like, magic users that get old and start losing their minds. And like, like what happens if Superman got Alzheimer's? What kind of a problem would that be for the world? That'd be horrible, right? Right. Somebody was making that joke too that in the Justice League movie, the Snyder Cut, Batman calls him Clark, like answering the question of the Three Doors Down song, like, if I go crazy, then will you still call me Superman? Because Superman goes crazy in that, and he calls him Clark. So no, I guess I would. I love that. Let's keep going. The Witcher, was it good? Yeah, the art was good. The storyline was good. I mean, I think it was a good ending. I just can't tell you for sure because I read the first one and not the other two, and I was a little confused. So definitely don't jump in on this one. But if you're a Witcher fan, you're probably already fully on board with that to begin with. And when are we getting another season of The Witcher? Does anyone know? Hopefully they can get Cavill suits that fit this time. Oh yeah. Did you hear that Henry Cavill, when he was on the set of The Witcher, just kept like hulking out of his like outfits? Like they had to keep retailoring them because he was just too big for them. Yeah. Yeah. Literal Superman.
Henry Cavill for Adam Warlock.
Henry Cavill for Adam Warlock. Yeah.
So I need somebody.
You mentioned that before, and I was like, yeah, that's perfect.
Ripped to whoop the Guardians.
I could see that. I could honestly see that. Okay. Next is McKay, Vaqueva, and Reber, and we're talking. Oh no, we already talked about Black Cat. Well, here's the Black Cat A cover. Why do I have the A cover and the variant separated? I don't know. Next is Brisson, Frigeri, and Keith, and we're talking about Ghost Rider, the King in Black tie-in. Now, what do you get with this? Well, Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze. If you haven't been following what's been going on with Johnny Blaze is currently the King of Hell. Mephisto has been dethroned and is trapped on Earth or imprisoned on Earth. And there's a lot going down with King in Black with Null invading. On top of that, Danny Ketch is no longer Ghost Rider. He's actually a Purgatory Knight? Yeah. Well, we finally get his name in this issue, and it is Death Rider. It's okay. I don't hate it. It's just not the best name, but okay, we'll go with it. He's still sticking to the Rider motif. It's a hard thing to give up. And then we get a couple other characters. Now, Cam, one of them was called the Caretaker, which is a gal in cowboy clothing that rides around on a motorcycle and stuff like that. I don't know that character. Do you? You don't know that character either, do you? I have no idea who that character is, but I liked her. I wanted to know more. We do get, the Ghost Rider of my childhood, Danny Ketch involved. So there's a lot of moving parts. We finally get a wrap up to the what happens between Mephisto and Johnny Blaze, which this has been building for like a couple of years now, I think at least. We're finally going to get some answers on that. The whole thing has been just an amazing wild ride, and I loved this book. It was almost my pick of the week. Granted, Ghost Rider has a special place in my heart from when I was a kid, but it was just a really, really, really good story. I need a drink. My throat's starting to go. Is it a one shot? Yes, it's a one shot. But does it expand something in the Marvel universe? It does. And we're going to see something wicked happen at the end. So I would say don't skip it. Now, is it necessary to get the whole King in Black story from this? No, not at all. But you still need to see what happens here. Although I have to say, Mephisto's being imprisoned, right? And he's been on Earth, right? But didn't Khonshu kill him? I thought Khonshu killed him. No, he killed him. He killed him, and then he started killing like alternate reality Mephistos. So I'm thoroughly confused as to what happened there. I missed something, and it's kind of annoying. But anyways, that is Ghost Rider good? Yes, it's amazing. Brisson Frigeri and Keith did a very good job. Now is a book I hate. Grist, DeVito, Woodward, and Underwood, and we're talking about The Union. Now, Cam immediately asked me what I thought of this book when I was done reading it, and set it down, and I just kind of like looked at him and rolled my eyes. So we're gonna break this down. One, we made a team of D-list heroes and villains last week for both Marvel and DC, and I got to tell you that this team would probably beat our D-list team in a fight for who is the most D-list, because I don't care about any of these characters on this team. Now, I've seen that before where I've read a comic and I haven't cared about the characters, but then I bonded with them. But Union Jack, Snakes, Kelpie, The Choir, Bulldog, and Selwyn James just don't give a crap about them. What I will say is that, well, the Union is about to get a rival team, which has one member who I care about, and that member is a cybernetic corgi. Cybernetically enhanced corgi. So that's cool. Everything else about this book I hated. We have a character named Bulldog, and if you're gonna name somebody Bulldog and put them in a place to have a fight and get ready to fight, I'm expecting a good fight. Bulldog basically said, "You're gonna have to get past me," and I'm not kidding. Like, they throw an anti-gravity thing at him and he floats off, and I was like, "Wow, that is like something my 6-year-old self would have come up with." And frankly, I wanted to see the fight. Name a guy Bulldog, and I don't get to see the fight every time. I'm going to be a little bit annoyed. So I didn't like it. I didn't have a good time with it. The storyline felt tropey. Yeah, they're sort of introducing a villain team to rival them, but if you're going to do that, at least make it so that I've bonded with the characters yet, and I don't like them. Cam, what do you think of the Union?
It's weird.
It's weird. It's okay. I guess if you need a British team of superheroes, we've got it here. I guess if you need a team with British superheroes, you should check out Excalibur, because that's better. Although that's not all British, that's just Captain Britain. Although who is British on that team? Captain Britain for sure.
Excalibur,
Yeah, Excalibur.
Psylocke.
That's about it, yeah. Next is, well, it's a number one, and it's Ermin, Sturl, Contreras, and Campbell. This is Witch Blood. It's hard to talk about a number one without spoiling it, so I'm going to tell you that if you don't want it spoiled, you might need to mute your mic for a little bit. But this story centers around a witch who kind of fumbles into town and might have found somebody who was hunting her, and then there might be vampires involved. So if that sounds like your flavor of fun, it does to me, because I'm a Buffy fan. You will absolutely love Witch Blood. Now, one of the things about this, the storyline, well, it's I wouldn't say it's anything super amazing. Like, the storyline was good. It was written well. I liked the characters, but it didn't like blow me out of the water. It's not really anything we haven't seen before. But the art, on the other hand, totally blew me out of the water. Now, keep in mind, I'm a huge Jen Bartel fan, and you can definitely tell that there are Jen Bartel vibes to this artwork. But it was all types of good. The whole way through, it was like a rave for my eyes, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. So you really need to pick it up and see the art for yourself. Check it out, see if you like the story. I would say pick it up, thumb through it, and see if you want to buy it. The art alone is worth buying it. The story's pretty good, and I want to know where it's going. That's what I want to know. Vault has been doing some good things. Honestly, Vault has been doing some really good things. They're not my favorite indie publisher. I'd say that's still Image, but they're a close second. Next is Peter David, Greg Land. Wow, Greg Land. Greg Land. And this doesn't look like, look at that. It's not a pervy cover. Greg Land have they reined him in finally? Greg Land, Jay Leinston, and Frank D'Armata. If you don't know what we're referring to, Greg Land has gotten in trouble in the industry for tracing tracing images of Sports Illustrated models and porn actresses. And they've been able to find the actual images that he's used to trace to create his comic creations. The reason he's never been outright fired for it is because he always hits a deadline. He's never late on his work, but he's a very, very ultra controversial artist in the industry. And I've met people that really, really love his work. But usually I can pick up his comics and be like, oh, I can see where the porn face is in this comic. He hasn't been doing it for a bit. It's been better part of a year. It seems like he's cleaned up his act. So I don't know. Professor Xavier had Alzheimer's in Logan, and that was a pretty big problem for everyone. Yeah, he did, actually. That's true, in Old Man Logan. Huh. Yeah, good job, Klein Heinz. Thanks, man. Let's see. So this is Symbiote Spider-Man. Let's get back to this. Now, is this story necessary for King in Black? Not at all. In fact, it doesn't even feel like King in Black. They're like chasing a shadow. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's weird. They're chasing a shadow. The shadow has to do with Null. I can't remember how. Something, a sword. But what it does have is it does have a good cast. We've got Rocket Raccoon. Uatu is involved, which anything with Uatu is always amazing to me. We've got Photon. Although this is back in time. This might actually just be flat out Captain Marvel. And then Kang the Conqueror, and I can't remember who those two characters are, and don't care. Anyways, but most of that team is pretty memorable and awesome. And honestly, I've laughed multiple times each time I've read one of these issues, so I haven't been bored. Now, the Symbiote Spider-Man tie-ins to events always feel like throwaway stories to me. This really hasn't changed. It's not the best story. The plot doesn't hinge on this. But I actually had a good time with this one. Cam, you didn't like it, though, did you?
It was okay.
Cam said it was okay. I think he said you picked up like 3 issues and you were done with it.
Yeah.
I would say this is hit or miss. You might be like me and be like, oh, okay, I kind of had a good time with it. Or you might be like Cam and be like, it was okay and I don't want any more of it. Pick it up, thumb through it. And if you do like it, go back a couple issues and start picking it up. I actually had a good time with it, so I don't know. This is going to be my indie pick of the week because, well, this cover is amazing. It's Usagi Yojimbo Wanderer's Road. Now, these are old Usagi stories being colorized. This one centering around Usagi again. It's still a really, really good time if you're getting an old story. But the art, these covers are so brilliant. And this might actually be my favorite Peach Momoko cover. I've never seen a Usagi cover that beautiful. So, Al, I'm happy to say you've got one of these. I've now got one of these. And if you are 3 other people, although Cam, you might pick one of these up too. 2 other people might get lucky to get one of these in our store. They're going to run out because look at that cover. My God, that is just the best thing I've ever seen. Man, oh man. So that's going to be my indie pick of the week. And it's not just solely because of cover. I actually love the Gen and Usagi story in it. But I love everything that is tied to, is it Gen or Jin? No, it's Gen because Jin's the evil swordsman, is the evil spearman. So yeah, Gen the Rhino. Anyways, so that's my indie pick of the week. It's great. Come pick it up. It's mostly Sakai. I mean, they've colorized it. Peach Momoko's doing the covers, but Sakai did the original story. Next is Priest, Genti, Story, and Mia. Okay, so I have not hid the fact that I do not like John Walker very much at all. I've never liked John Walker, both as Cap, as U.S. agent. Seeing him in Falcon and Winter Soldier at the same time, he's not like, I don't like John Walker. I never have. What's up, Demon Wolf? How's it going, man? The character sucks. Now a whole bunch of other characters are encountering U.S. Agent for the first time, and they're going to find out what I know about U.S. Agent is that the character sucks. Or he might not. I mean, you never know with the MCU. They could pull a redemption arc. But if you've been reading this U.S. Agent run, as far as comics were concerned, I told you that you'd be better off just burying this out in the desert than reading it, because I hated it. I didn't like it at all. I think I read the first 3 issues. No, I've read the first 2 issues, skipped the third. It sucked. I didn't even know where they were going with the first issue. It was like all over the place. U.S. Agent as a character, he's not a really fun character, particularly fun character. Says a lot of problematic stuff. We could have left it at that, but I went ahead and read issue 4, and if I didn't have a good time with issue 4, I honestly did. Is it problematic still? Yes, it's still kind of problematic. They say some iffy stuff, and you know, I'm okay with problematic stuff as long as the character itself is fun and the story is fun. I think Scumbag is a good example of that, but this one hasn't been. Until this issue, oddly enough, I read issue 4 and had a really good time with it. So I would say issue 4, don't skip it. I'm still not a John Walker fan. I'll probably never be a John Walker. He's the Kyle Rayner of Captain America's. That's what I'm going to say. And I don't like Kyle Rayner as a Green Lantern fanboy, one of the biggest. I've never liked Kyle Rayner either. So yeah, John Walker. U.S. Agent issue number 4, oddly good. Oddly good. I don't know. The 7th seal might be breaking, but that issue's worth reading. Maybe issue 3 was good. I don't know. Maybe I should have read it. Henderson, Garbett, Fabella, and Boland. And we're talking about Shadecraft now. What I'm going to tell you is that Shadecraft at first seems very similar to another comic. So the art's really good. The art's good, and the way they did Light and Shadow, I loved. I'm going to open that up first. This is an indie book. It's number 1. We can't really talk about a number 1 without spoiling some of it. This centers around a girl who's having a hard time. Her family life's kind of bad. One of her brothers, or her brother, is in a coma. She's struggling with some things, struggling with school. Meanwhile, she starts getting chased by shadows. Yeah. So if you know what I'm referring to, a certain comic had a 25th anniversary recently, and that is The Darkness, which centered around somebody with shadow powers. We might be seeing a similar thing here. I think it's a call out to The Darkness. I don't think it's a ripoff by any means. I think it's paralleling and maybe, referencing with respect is what it feels like. But they also might be going off on their own tangent. It's not fully explained, and something happens at the end that definitely deviates from it. And I want to know where it's going. Is it good? Yes, it's great. I fell in love with the characters. I fell in love with the art. I had a really good time with it. And I got to say, as an indie number 1, this is probably one you should pick up. It was a really, really good read. Now, if you've read The Darkness, then yeah, okay, you're going to find some parallels. I will tell you that. But, 25 years out, why not reference stuff like that? It's a tribute at that point. Yep. Next is Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer. And we're talking about Beta Ray Bill, number 1, King in Black. Now, I'm going to tell you flat out, this is my pick of the week. Now, I'm going to preface that by saying that first, I'm a huge Beta Ray Bill fan, like a really, really big Beta Ray Bill fan. I love the character. We've seen a lot of stuff happen to him in the recent Thor run, to include losing Stormbreaker, which also affects whether or not he can transform. I love that the writer has also done their homework well, because, not only you can tell from the cover that we've got Fin Fang Foom in play, but we also have Bill's spaceship, Scuttlebutts, which we haven't seen in forever and a day, it feels like. So they do reference that, and not reference it, they show it, and that's in play. And I've been wondering when we were going to see that stuff again. So that's interesting to see. And poor old Bill's going through a crisis, because, Bill without his hammer is sort of like Thor without his hammer, which is really kind of sad in a way. So there's big changes to Beta Ray Bill, and this isn't just King in Black centric. They do deal with some stuff. The fight was really, really good, if a bit surreal. It was honestly kind of surreal. The art was so ridiculously cool, though. It's perfect for Beta Ray Bill's story. And man, I felt like I had read a trade paperback by the time I got to the last page. It's great. There is just a lot here. So do not skip this whatsoever. This is going to be my Marvel pick of the week. This is also going to wind its way up into my box. And I'm probably going to sub to it. And you honestly should too. It was great. Come pick that up. Check it out. See what you think. Now, Mike Spicer. Didn't Mike Spicer do Little Bird? Isn't that the guy that did Little Bird and that DC Comics book where Wonder Woman was running around with Superman's spinal cord and skull? Do you not remember that?
No,
Can you
I
look that
don't.
up real quick? See Mike Spicer, Little Bird. See if he wrote that book. Mike Spicer on LinkedIn.
Wait, let me type in comic.
Click it. We'll just see. No, it's Bertrand. Okay. His art just felt similar. I swear I've seen Mike Spicer on something DC though. Anyways. Actually, I've seen him on a lot of stuff that's DC. Come to think of it. Anyways, is it good? Beta Ray Bill is amazing. Amazing. Come pick it up. Next is a horror comic. A horror comic that, I mean, it's good. I have mixed feelings on it. So this is Cult of Dracula. This is by Rich Davis and Henry Martinez. Now, I will say that this is a really, really good horror comic. If you're a horror fan, I think you'd be into this. The art is great. The story is great. There was one scene in the middle of it that confused the hell out of me. And I mean, like, I was like, what? Like, and I keep in mind, I'm speed reading these books, but I was like, what? Like, what is happening here? Is this a flashback? I think it's a flashback. It's not quite clear that it's a flashback. But even if it is, it's a bit all over the place and very sudden and shocking. And maybe that's the point. It's kind of a mystery that needs to be explained. You'll have to read it and see if you agree with me. But there's a scene that just, it felt kind of out of place, and I couldn't quite put my finger on why. Now, is it good? Yeah, it's good. It's a good vampire story. It seems a bit mystical at times, stuff not fully fleshed out, and I like that. You know, we're going to discover what's going on with the story. Just that one scene was weird. I need somebody else to read it and tell me what they think, and if I'm right that middle scene's kind of strange. It was so weird that I was like, is this a misprint? Like, what is happening here? Anyways, this is Source Point Press, which is not a comic not an imprint we carry all that often. Is it good? Yeah, actually, I had a good time with it, and I think if you like horror, you'll probably like that. But if you like horror, which this feels like it might be horror, but it's not fully explained yet. This is Stephanie Phillips and Tony Chastain, and we're talking about Nuclear Family issue number 2. Now, it might be tropey. It seems a little tropey, and I'm not sure why, but I kind of feel like I've seen this before. This centers around a family that hears air raid sirens and goes to their bomb shelter. And when they come out, years have passed, and their town has been blown up, and there's been some big nuclear holocaust in the world, but they've survived.
It's like they just walked in and walked out.
Yeah, it seems very Twilight Zone-ish, Outer World. I've seen it somewhere before, and I can't quite put my finger on it. So that's what's happening here. I mean, we saw kind of part of that with the last issue. We all sort of knew that something was up like that. Yeah, it gets a little more explained. That might have been a little spoilery. I'm sorry. But we're going to see what mankind has done with the time that has passed, and it's kind of interesting. And the art is super good. I mean, really, really good. Like, I was gushing over this art. Like, there were some pages where I was like, oh, this is pretty good. But then there were other pages where I was like, dude, this is like rivaling like Mitch Gerard's sort of Mr. Miracle run and how it feels. Do you see what I mean? Does it not kind of feel like that?
That's actually
Yeah, it's really good art. Like, and it looks like that style. Here, we'll just show it. But it's just really cool art. So the art alone is worth picking up. Nuclear Family, and it's by Aftershock Comics. The storyline, yeah, okay. I do have this feeling that I've seen it before, but I'm not hating it. It's just that part of it is seems like it's taking second stage to the art because the art is just mind blowing. So don't skip it. It's really really good. Is it my indie pick of the week? No, sorry. I'm gonna go with Usagi, but it's pretty close. Next is a book that I can't stand. I hate it. This is Nikeza Booth, Corona, and Guru Effects. I get it. I mean, I get it. Okay. The art, yeah, okay, it looks like Liefeld and it looks like 90s art. And if you grew up with this style of art, you'll probably really like it. I never liked this kind of, I mean, I liked some of it, but none of this style was really my jam. And it centers around, get ready, the secret of Adam X. Guess who Adam X is related to?
No, don't say it. Don't say it.
It's one of the long lost Summers brothers.
Summers.
Yeah, okay. So this is a Summers family reunion. You've got Daddy Summers, you've got Scott Summers, you've got Havoc, you've got Adam Summers. Okay, look.
Diana Summers in there too.
X-Men books do tend to be like Summers family reunions, and the Summers family is so wild and weird to include like offshoots from other timelines and stuff. It's just the weirdest family ever. So why not make it more weird? And why not include somebody who's the long lost brother who I swear to God has X-23 claws on his gauntlets? Because why not? And get ready for his power that has to do with plasma in the blood, affecting plasma in blood and doing weird stuff in battle. I don't care. It's a weird character. I don't care for him, whatever. This is how they introduce him, okay? But the saving grace for this book that actually made me laugh out loud really friggin' hard was I turned to the last page, and what's on the last page, Cam? The Summers family tree, which is the wackiest family tree of all. So I remember saying, I was like, this book is the Summers family reunion when I picked up the first one. And I got to the last page and was like, like they didn't even like pull any punches. This is a Summers family reunion, Summers family picnic. Is it good? No, it sucks. I didn't like it at all. I don't know. This is definitely not my jam. I know it's somebody else's. It's just not mine. But we'll have it here if you want it. Yeah. Next is Donny Cates, Jeff Shaw, Dee Cunnings, and John J. Hill, and we're talking about crossover. Now, crossover is a story that what happens if comic characters cross over with the real world. And I kept telling you guys, I was like, I recognize these characters, but I'm not sure from what. And I had a customer come in the store, and they were like, oh, yeah, they're characters from the old so-and-so imprint. So I've seen them before in the 90s. I've seen them before. I just couldn't remember who they were, and I should have written it down because I don't remember what imprint the guy told me. But it's cool. It's a really, really good story. Again, written by Donny Cates, so you know it's good. Centers around comic characters, a crossover with Mankind, and a magic sword.
An ebony blade.
By the power of Grayskull. What was the Thundercats one?
Thunder.
Eye of Thundera.
Oh, yeah.
Give me sight beyond sight.
Yes. And then it was go time. It was Thunder.
Thundercats. Oh.
We made that announcement, right?
Yeah, we made that
All right.
announcement. Is crossover good? Yes, it's amazing. The art's ridiculously cool. I did know these characters back in the day, but I couldn't remember what they were. Am I bored with it? No, this is amazing. And okay, look, I'm going to tell you guys flat out, like a little bit spoilery. There, like Mankind makes their own versions of the comic superheroes to fight the other comic superheroes, and they call them the Amalgams. Yeah. So they're referencing all types of stuff with comic history, like Donny Cates. Donny Cates is doing things justice. So it's good. It's really, really good. Check it out. It's awesome.
I'm gonna write these numbers down.
Oh, because no cash transaction?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. Next is Nunzio de Filippis, Christina Weir, Fernando Hines, Furukawa, and Michael Attier. We're talking about Dragon Age Dark Fortress. Now, if you need a little fantasy this week, Dragon Age is definitely your kick. The art is good. The story is pretty darn good. I will say that I have not played through all of the Dragon Age games. I think I stopped like a couple games back, and I really need to go back to them because everybody tells me that they're just the best.
Oh no, I think it's Dragon Quest.
Yeah. But these are, I mean, they feel typical fantasy flavor, but the characters themselves in this story, the characters almost crawl off the page. Like they're really, really good characters that all of them seem to be vying for my attention, and I sort of love that. So well written, storyline's pretty good. Now, is it Critical Role good for fantasy comics on our shelf? No. Critical Role and Rat Queens, I would say, are that's the yardstick for amazing fantasy, in my opinion. This is one step under it. It's wonderful. It's a great comic. It's just not Critical Role and Rat Queens good. It's just under it. But if you need fantasy this week, this is the book you pick up, unless you've been on board with The Witcher, and then, of course, pick up The Witcher. We all know The Witcher is good. Next is a comic. God, did I love this. Oh, my God. Hickman, Azrar, and Go. What did I pick for my Marvel pick of the week? It's Beta Ray Bill, right?
Yeah.
This is almost it. This is X-Men. And we saw, like, I think, how long ago was it? Was it 6 months ago that they went into the vault with the children?
Yeah, it wasn't even a full year.
So it was 6 months ago, and they were going to send 3 mutants in. X-23, Darwin, and what's his name? Sitch? Yeah, Sitch. I think that's his name. They sent all 3 of them into the vault, and they were like, look, you're going to go into the AI simulation that the children have built. They're basically creating new life in there, life that is more adaptable than mutants, and we think that they're hatching a plan to attack us. So we need you to go in there and disrupt their plans. And, oh, yeah, we're sending you in there because you guys have healing factors and the most adaptability, and you can borrow powers from each other. And we think you'll be able to survive. We think.
Like 1,000 years in there?
Yeah. So on top of that, you're going in there, and what's going to be 6 months for us is going to be like 1,000 years for you. What a screwed up thing to do to the mutants. And, oh, yeah, if you die in there, you're not going to retain your memories when you're reborn. So just get out to get the message through. So there's all types of problems. So this is what happens to them during that time. And what a challenge to give to mutants. And it's weird. So they give it to these mutants. And, of course, Darwin is like the no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then X-23 because of healing factor. But I would think, like, you would probably send Wolverine because Wolverine's that much more. But you did send Wolverine because you sent X-23.
She's technically Wolverine now.
She's Wolverine, but like she's the less tested of the Wolverines, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So I mean, it worked. It really, really worked. And then you send Sitch, who can borrow powers, so all of that makes sense. It's just what a wild like challenge to give to mutants, and it's just a testament to that Hickman does not pull any punches. And this story was super intriguing, and he really set a ticking clock like a few months back when he announced that this was happening. We were all like, well, what the hell is going on in that vault? Like we all wanted to know. And he was like, no, you need to wait.
I thought we were never going to know.
Man. So this is amazing. And American Gods got canceled this week.
What?
Yeah. And if you watch it too, it ends on literally the biggest cliffhanger ever. Which, okay, I've read the book. I've read the books because I've read the Anansi Boys too. But
that's this.
God, it was such a good cast.
Yeah.
But you know what? Fletcher Neal brought up that the reason or the show got less cool when they got rid of Mr. Nancy. Which they did. They fired Orlando Bloom, and it was never like really fully explained why. They saw the character. I guess they referenced the character might be problematic or something.
Okay. Interesting.
But they never fully explained it. And like Orlando Bloom was like, they think my character's problematic, but
they're gods.
yeah. And I didn't see any problem with what it was.
No.
Yeah. So weird. Like
they cancel culture themselves?
I don't know what happened there. But American Gods, we need more than 3 seasons. We need another season. Especially this last season was amazing. We need one more. Just one more. Wrap it up with a bow, damn it. Next is Arkudi Gian Giordano, Crabtree, and Heisler, and we're talking about Two Moons. Two Moons. Now, I told you guys last time that this was both a war story done right and a horror story done right. Combined, it was an amazing wild ride. Now, I will say that this issue is not as good as the first one, but still really damn good. The art is amazing. The storyline is well, it's a bit spiritual and supernatural. We're gonna get some explanations as to what happened to the main character, and he's still fighting with the Union, but the Union soldiers now think he's betrayed them. Ooh, yeah, because his sergeant became some kind of a monster and then killed some people and ran off.
Oh, and they think that's him.
Yeah,
now?
they think that's him. I think that's what happened. It's been a minute, so my memory's a little fuzzy. But that's where this one picks up. Is it good? Yes, it's good. It's just they threw a lot at you in this issue, so it almost felt like too much, too quick. Now, that doesn't mean it's bad. I got to say, as far as openers are concerned, that last issue was one of the best I've ever read. This issue was outstanding still. You shouldn't skip it. You should go back one issue, though. You shouldn't skip it. It's just not as good as the first, which makes sense. You open with your best punch. At least in the art world, you open with your best punch. Maybe not in real life. Usually you throw a couple jabs.
Yeah. It's like out your opponent.
Yep. You don't open with a hook in real life. Next is Tinian, Voss, Titov, and Bidakar. And I said Usagi was my pick of the week, didn't I? Mm-hmm. I'm going to backpedal on that and say that my indie pick of the week is Department of Truth. And this actually, I'm going to go ahead and call it and say that this is my full-blown pick of the week this week. Are you good?
Yeah, somebody tried to jump in after FOC and grab 4 books.
Oh, yeah. Who is it? Patrick Colano? No.
We only have like 1 or 2 left now.
Well, cancel it. Did you already pay for it?
No. This is an order.
Yeah, no.
Meet your FOC, guys. FOC.
If you can't beat FOC, we can't get you books. All right. Anyways, Department of Truth. This one centers around, are you ready for it? And we're going to discuss it real quick. Men in Black. Now, if you know Men in Black for the movies, congratulations. I like Will Smith too. That does not sync up with the Men in Black tales, which are real stories that centered around the UFO phenomenon. And as people were reporting the UFO phenomenon or seeing it for the first time, to include one guy who had seen a UFO blow up over his house, then you like Men in Black were people that sort of came to investigate the UFO phenomenon, and people would trip out about them because they looked like tall men who looked identical and wore business suits and would do weird things like pick up a ballpoint pen and like push the ballpoint pen and then like laugh about it like it was something they'd never seen before and then put back. And everyone who has encountered them has had like just weird feelings when they've met them. They're really spooky individuals, and the Department of Truth is going to tackle that mystery and do it in a very realistic way. They explain the real mythos behind the Men in Black. And I don't mean just like mythos. I mean like the real stories that came about in society, that whether or not they're real is remains to be seen, but these were really reported stories. So it's cool. Like, honestly, this might have been my favorite of the Department of Truth stories. And it does center around a character that wears foil on his head.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So he's just flat out wears tin foil on his head.
Remember, it's got to be tin, not aluminum.
Yeah, tin, not aluminum.
Aluminum amplifies.
Yeah. Is it good? Yes, it's amazing. It was the best Department of Truth story I'd read so far. Centers around a child prodigy who figured this all out at 15. And gives us a little bit of backstory. And hasn't there been a Men in Black sighting recently? We saw like video footage.
Oh yeah.
There was like
the past few years
CCTV footage of like Men in Black like sightings that happened like just a couple years back, and they look exactly like the original ones did like back in the day. That's super creepy, dude. This is stuff that me and Yogi used to like discuss while reading, comics and science fiction back in the day. We would always discuss like real life paranormal and stuff
in the early days of the internet before the YouTube.
So it's cool. It's really, really cool. Yes, it was amazing. I had a good time. I'm going to say this is my indie pick of the week, and close second is Usagi. Sorry, I dethroned it this week. I know. But honestly, don't skip this. It was outstanding. I loved it. The art for Department of Truth is just mind-blowing, and it's no wonder they're already making it into a TV series. It deserves it. So that's our show for this week, and we will have all the books. We have them all for you tomorrow, so come get them tomorrow. Anything else to add? Sorry, the show was all over the board. I was remembering pop culture news like halfway through the show this week. But we have more viewers than we normally do, at least on YouTube. So, yeah, I'm guessing that was a good show. We'll catch you guys next week. Whoop. Whoop.